The last reason, and I think maybe this might be the most important one, that we need to know how plants survive, how plants work, is that we need to feed the world. We need to realize that out of 7 billion people in the world today, and this might be a little scary, less than half get the amount of food and the amount of nutrition they need. Over half the world is what we called insecure, food insecure. Now, this is not only people who are hungry, the pictures of children with large stomachs, but about a third of the world, they get enough food in terms of volume, but not enough food in terms of nutrition. And now we have a new problem in the world that quite a lot, over 10%, are actually getting too much calories. They're overweight. So less than half the world is food insecure. 800 million people go hungry each day. And the majority of these hungry people we know is in either Africa or in Southern Asia. Why is there so much hunger? Well, one of the reasons is that our population of humans in the world is rapidly expanding, actually logarithmically. If when I was born, there were only 3 billion people in the world, when my parents were born, there were 2 billion, and when my grandparents were born, only 1 billion. Today, there are 7 billion people, and most models have us reaching 9 billion by 2050. So there's huge increase in the human population. This increase in population, of course, is leading to a decrease in the amount of land that's available for agriculture. And this, of course, makes sense. As we have more people, they have to live somewhere. That land that used to be used for growing crops is now used for people. So we have this contradiction that as the amount of population goes up, the amount of land is going down, so that while 24% of the Earth's surface is arable, by 2050, that's only going to be 20%. How are we going to be able to feed the world with less land, a world that's hotter, less water, might have less nutrients available, and an increasing population? Well, I believe that plant biology can go a long way to solve these problems, because plant biologists, by understanding how plants sense the environment, by understanding what a plant knows, we can develop plants that are resistant to drought or tolerant to drought. We can develop plants that need less water, less fertilizer. We can develop plants that are more resistant to pathogens such as fungus and bacteria or bugs, insects. And we can make plants that are more nutritious. A single gene can really lead to a plant that is resistant to drought. Another way that plant biologists are doing this is by utilizing what we call wild plants. As we mentioned with wheat, wheat was cultivated from a wild growing wheat. And in Israel today, this wild wheat is still growing. We call this the mother of wheat. It grows wild on the side of the road. What some of my colleagues have been able to do is to take this wild wheat and cross it with the cultivated wheat. And what they've developed is a new strain that is actually hardier, it contains more protein, and it contains more minerals. So think about this. By just utilizing what we know in plant biology, we can develop a strain of wheat that is more nutritious. And so how could this affect world security? I think you can agree with me that this could be very, very important. But there's another reason for studying plants. Plants make us happy. Loads of psychological research have shown that not only are we in a better mood when plants are around us, we're also more productive. But for those of you who might be interested in more practical aspects of life, there are other reasons to study plants. And that's that plants can be a bioreactor for fuels. Think about the money that would be involved in making biofuels, ecologically valid fuels from plants. We can now manipulate the oil and sugar content of plants for our own uses, and so that plants can become our own oil industry. Think of the millions, if not billions of dollars involved in this.